It's not achievable. But they don't have the political to do that. That's why I gave the example of the House of Assemblies that are supposed to benefit them, so that they don't need to wait for the executive to be able to get their own money from the first line at charge. But they refuse and shut it down. They did not refuse. It's the governors that delegated them. They have no choice. Exactly. So when did they agree on that? It's the governors that delegated them.
Let's move on quickly to the final lap of today's conversation. The onslaught against the banditry in Nigeria continues to yield positive results. In another cheering news, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has handed over 58 kidnapped victims rescued by security agencies during joint operations to the Kaduna state government. Ribadu transferred the victims to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who in turn handed them over to the state government. General Musa, who presented the victims to the representative of the state government and Chief of Staff to the Governor, Sani Kila, confirmed that no money was paid for their rescue. The defense chief also mentioned that certain individuals have been trying to undermine the government's efforts. Let's share the story by TVC News, Sifonesian, with you.
It's been a harrowing journey to freedom for these victims, kidnapped from their villages in Katsina State and held in deplorable conditions by bandits in the Biringwari area of Kaduna State. The group includes 35 men, 23 women, and even a 2-year-old boy, Ahmed Jibrin, who endured unimaginable suffering. Now they are being welcomed in Abuja by the National Security Advisor at his office.
It was the worst moment of my life. I wouldn't wish such a condition on my worst enemy. I never thought I would regain my freedom. Thank God for the security forces.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, highlights the success of the security forces intervention.
What we are seeing out of this number is the success of the collaboration right from the top, from the presidency to the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Ministry of Defense to Defense, all agencies working together, including Kaduna State. The governor has been very, very supportive and very helpful. And it is this collaborative effort that has made it possible for us to be able to rescue these individuals. I know the question is, how were they rescued? It's a joint effort. We're able to do that through non-kinetic means of getting across. No penny was paid for these individuals.
He emphasizes the military's commitment to intensifying operations against threats to national security.
Why would somebody kidnap this kind of people? If you see them, they are barely just surviving. And that's to tell you that there are individuals that on their own are trying to make it impossible for the government to succeed. They are doing everything possible to sabotage the efforts of the government. That will not happen. I want to also inform Nigerians that we will continue to work hard together. We will not leave any stone unturned until every Nigerian that is in captivity is freed. Nigerians are free to move about within the country, both day and night, as it used to be before.
Later, the National Security Advisor officially handed over the rescued victims to Sani Kila, the Chief of Staff to the Kaduna State Governor, for further care and rehabilitation.
Security is everybody's business. Let's team up and fight these menace.
Beyond those significant rescues, security forces are reportedly increasing operations against bandits and terror warlords across their strongholds. Sifonesian, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, Mayor, your first reaction to this story.
Yeah, it's a very welcome development. I want to commend the National Security Advisor and the security chiefs, because when things go wrong, we criticize them all the time. So when they make successes like this, we should also commend them. But it's so sad that young people, innocent Nigerians, can just be kidnapped. It shows the level of insecurity in so many states in the Northwest, especially in the Northwest. Banditry has become a major problem for us now in the country, and it's so easy to kidnap Nigerians, which shouldn't be the case. But we have to commend them when they make successes like this. Recently, they've been doing very well. A lot of these bandits have been, the leaders have been killed, and they are making success they are achieving success in different states, which is commendable. But above that, we should look for a state where we'll be able to reduce this banditry to a minimal level, because it has now become a way of life in the North, which shouldn't be the case. As we commend them, we have to enjoin them to be able to do more, so that there won't be a fearful environment where an average Nigerian is not sure whether he or she will be kidnapped by these so-called bandits who are just criminals.
All right, Chris, I mean, you heard that story, and I think one of the most interesting things from that story is him talking about the kind of support they got from the governor, which means that the era of blame game is over.
Yes, it is. And what some of us have always advocated is that we have some level of cooperation between the various military. Okay? The problem we've always had in the past is everybody trying to do his own thing. The Army is doing something, the Navy is doing something else, the Air Force is doing theirs, the police, and they are supposed to be a coordinating place. And the sharing of intelligence has always been a factor. Okay? And that is where the office of the NSA comes in. And good enough, the office of the NSA, with that of the Chief of the Defense Staff, seems to be working together, and that's why we're able to achieve what we have achieved. But the problem still remains that the main kingpin of these bandits, what are we doing about them? This particular set of people were kidnapped by a notorious bandit called Jambros. And he kidnapped them in Kaduna State and made them to trek through the forest for several hundreds of kilometers through the Brene forest.
It was some very young kids.
That was a 2-year-old kid there. And after trekking, they trek from Kaduna to Kaduna. That's a boy, 2 years old boy. They were made to trek from Kaduna to Kaduna. If you drive, if you're somebody that is comfortable with that route, if you are going from Kaduna to Kaduna, or from Kaduna by road, it will take you hours. So for you to imagine that these people trekked through the bushes to be able to find themselves in Kaduna is an issue. And this is just one set of some of it. You can imagine the number of those still in the forest that have not been rescued. So we commend our security agencies. Where they are doing well, we need to commend them. But we still believe that we still have more. They can still do more. No. Because there are so many Nigerians that are living under serious insecurity, especially in the north. Now, while we are still battling with all these bandits and a new mist has come in, the Lukarawas or whatever they call them now, that the government, that the military are now telling us that they're even more dangerous than. And the question some of us have asked is that, how come that the military is just, they say it's a new terrorist group. It's a lie. It's not new. On this program, we'll be talking about that part. I'm telling you, we'll be talking about it since 2018. Yes, we have. I knew that DKO several times on this program, we have been talking about it. But the military came out about 2 weeks ago saying, hey, new terrorist group. The problem is that when they started establishing themselves, what do we do to take them out? Because that was how Boko Haram started. Boko Haram came with the comment that, oh, we're teaching Islam, we're not teaching Islam, Western education is good, Western education is not good, and people were falling for it and believing that this. At the point, by the time we knew what was happening, it blew on our faces when their leader was killed, and only for us to realize that, for goodness sake, these guys are more than what we thought. And with the porous border we are currently having, especially within the Niger-Chad border, and with the problem that ISIS is having, which is making a lot of them pushing themselves from Libya to Nigeria, we are going to have a lot of challenges, especially within the north. So I commend our military for what they've done, and hope that we'll have this level of collaborative. But the most important, the last one is that, as we used to say, if you see something, say something. Very, very key. But for you to be able to say something, our military must also build the confidence of the people that whatever information they're giving them, they will be able to use it.
All right, Mayor, a few minutes to go. But Governor Obasani, for instance, is calling for regional collaboration to tackle, Governor Obasani is calling for regional collaboration to tackle insecurity. And the question is, for some people, what then is being discussed at some of these regional security summits?
I agree with you. What he's trying to say is that it is important for states to collaborate, to be able, because part of the problem with these bandits is that when the security agencies take on these bandits, they move from that state if it is too hot for them to survive and move to another state and continue their nonsense there. So there's need for the governors of the northwest zone, where this banditry is more prevalent, to have this synergy of sharing intelligence, sharing logistics support for the security forces, and then so that we'll be able to know that, okay, this is what we are doing in our state, this is what I'm doing in my state, this is how we can collaborate so that we can take them on at the same time. Without doing that, it will be difficult because I've always advocated that we must take on these people at the same time. We cannot take them on, we cannot have pocket resistance and take them on state by state. For example, these people that were rescued came from Kaduna State, but they were rescued in Kaduna State. So it's important for the governor of Kaduna State not to say that, oh, these people are from Kaduna State, but they are rescued in my state. To provide all the necessary logistics support for the security forces to be able to do that. So that is what the governor is calling for, so that they can have collaboration.
All right, Chris. So my producer says we need to wrap up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mayor Kikmelu, Chris Kendi Wandu, thank you so much for your perspectives on the program today. And please have a great afternoon. Thank you very much, everyone. That's all on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.